So, yeah, and just to get back to what you were saying, Leslie, you're not as concerned about those penalties as maybe some other people are.
The 2 kickoff return penalties.
Well, there were more than it seemed like there were a lot more than just that. But
Well, I'm talking about the two new penalties, which is the illegal double team. No, I'm not concerned about that at all. Like I said, I had a good conversation with the guys at the league office. I think they're doing a great job of modifying the kickoff return play. I think we're all getting on the same page about what's legal, what's not legal. I think they would do some things differently. With what they know now, and we would probably do a few things differently with what we know now. But I think we're all on the right track. So
the kickoff return, well, yeah, a couple of good ones, but the one that Shelton had for 37 yards, he came after they jumped off sides on the kickoff. Does that kind of call into the spot, underscore how careful you guys have to be on kickoffs and like celebrations in the end zone after scoring, so you don't have to get pushed back when you're kicking off?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, you never want to cover a kick twice. It's always the hardest one to do is the second one. You know, these guys are tired. They just ran down there full speed. They got to jog back, and then they got to go run down there again. So I think that puts a lot of stress on those guys in general. I think it gives the return team a good opportunity. We made a decent attempt at it.
Dave, getting back to the new rule too. On top of that, you're not getting a running start.
Yeah, I would say the big thing on that is like the margin for error of being onsides and offsides on the kickoff play is really narrow. I mean, if you lean forward with your foot on the 34-yard line and the restraining line on the 35, if you lean forward at all, you're going to be offsides. So those guys really have to hold in there. You got to be disciplined on that unit.
But does it make it tougher to cover a kick overall just with the new rule?
I don't know that I would say I can't answer that question in its entirety yet. It changes how you got to do it. It does put an emphasis on being a fast accelerator. You got to get up to speed fast. You're doing it from a standstill. So that changes it. I don't know if it makes it tougher, but it does make it a little bit different.
Out here we've seen Darren returning kicks. How's he doing in that role, and is that something where he could really excel this year?
Yeah, I don't know if we'll end up having him back there when we get into the regular season. We work a lot of guys at a lot of spots. We had Corey Clement out there as a punt returner, kind of emergency role, what if something happens. Right now for us, we get 44 guys out on those plays. We run 4 different groups against each other, so sometimes it's a numbers thing. He just needs to be back there because he's the only guy left. He's obviously been a great player back there early in his career. We'll see if he's got a role for us there or not. I think there's probably a number of factors that play into that thing. What's the play look like at the end of the preseason? Do we think he could really help our team? Risk, reward, injury, all that kind of stuff. Taking shots. How many returns does he get a game? Do you limit him? Do you play him all the time? I mean, I'd say there's just a lot of questions out there that we got to get answered. But
is the thought behind it that if this play ends up looking like a punt, he's obviously pretty good at that?
Yeah, he's a great punt returner. I mean, he'd be a great kick returner if he were back there all the time. It's just whether or not that's the best thing for your football team, probably, is what you got to weigh the most.
Rashard Davis, you don't know whether he's going to be on the team or not right now, obviously, but what do you think of him as a returner? You certainly used him a little bit.
Yeah, we used him. I thought, for his first game out there this year, he helped us out a little bit last year in the preseason. I thought he did a nice job. He fielded the ball well, made a good decision in the plus 50 area of the field, catching the one, not catching the other one. So I'm encouraged about him. I'm hoping that he jumps off the screen and makes something really good happen. That hasn't totally happened yet, but he's done a bunch of really good stuff for us on the practice field, and hopefully we can help get him loose here one of these days.
You mentioned Cameron, just his consistency. Is that the number one thing? Is just trying to get better contact?
Yeah, I would say, with all these young punters that come into this league, consistency is probably the number one thing. Really, truth be told, consistency for veteran punters is tough. These guys aren't 100% striking the football. If you watch all of them, even the best ones in the game. But he's a little further away than some of the best ones, But I think all the young punters who come into this league have ups and downs, and it's just whether or not you can get through it with them, and then those guys end up turning into really good players. I would say the encouraging thing for him is he's shown excellent leg talent. I mean, he's hit a number of 70-plus yard balls in practice here. He's hit a number of 60-plus yard balls, one of them last night. And that's hard to get anybody to be able to do, and do it with good hang time. And he's done that, so he's shown definitely that he's got a huge upside. It's just whether or not we can, he can be consistent enough that you can live with it.
How's his directional ability developing?
Yeah, we've tried a number of different things. I'm not going to go into detail about that. I know he talked about that a little bit, which I'm not enamored with, but I'm not big into talking about scheme and exactly what we're trying to do on every play. But I would say that he's got a lot of different tools in his tool bag. At the end of the day, we're going to find out what he can do best for us and try to put that all together.
He could kick a ball for us.
As a holder, he's been outstanding. I'd say a year ago, he struggled a little bit. He came back this offseason and was remarkably improved, and has done a great job for us. I thought he did a great job last night. He really has not had a bad hold all offseason and training camp, so I'm really encouraged there. Yeah. I'd say the arrow's definitely up. We just got to keep grinding.
What we were saying, when we first got him, he can kick a ball across the room the way some quarterback can throw it. Does that help him? Can he put that to use? I mean, has he put that to use in the directional game without giving too much of that away? I mean, can he?
Yeah, no, he does a great job controlling the ball. I mean, I think those plus 50 punts, he wanted those things probably right around where he hit them. We got to try to push that, maybe be a little bit more aggressive with that and try to push it a little bit deeper down the field. I think those are like 12-yard lines. But I would say overall he's got great control of the football and those situational kicks.
What have you seen of Jake Elliott so far in training camp and during the offseason?
Yeah, Jake's been outstanding. I mean, he's had a tremendous offseason. Obviously, he had a great year. He was a little bit inconsistent, those middle distances. He had a great year for us a year ago. He came back in the offseason, and since we've started, he's been sharp as a tack. The guy's been great. He's done a nice job. He shortened up his approach on his kickoff, and that's been helpful for him, I think, and control the ball a little bit better directionally on his kickoffs there, and still has the leg strength to drive it deep if he wants to. But he's had an excellent camp. Really the biggest challenge for us with him is just making sure we don't wear him out early. The guy's a great player. It's a long season, and you want to have a lot left in that leg down the stretch here. So
You can always go to commute.
yeah, we got combos. That's good.
Where did that 81-yard punt? Where does that rank for you in terms of staying out alive, trying to go that far?
Yeah, I don't. It's up there. I know that. I know Donnie had one a few years back, I think, against Washington that ended up rolling quite a ways. But no, I mean, he's got exceptional leg talent. He's hit, like I say, he's hit three or four 70-plus balls out here in practice with really good hang time, and then he's hit like 4 60-plus, maybe more, 60-plus balls with really good hang time. So for a guy to have 8 punts like that in a short period of time, he's shown tremendous potential and upside.
For a team like this, with Doug as the head coach, you know how aggressive he is. There are a lot of times where he'll go for it on fourth, where a lot of teams might punt directionally. Is it more important to have a punter who can flip the field as opposed to a guy who can punt team deep?
I don't know if you could say it's more important. I mean, it's important to be able to execute the play you need at the moment.
It seems like this team might need fewer of those plays than maybe another team.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
Well, speaking of Donnie, as you were a minute ago, what's he up to? You talked to him lately?
Donnie, I talked to him here or there. We have a great relationship. I couldn't tell you exactly what he's doing. I know he's in Louisiana.
And he hopes to be in somebody's camp by now, you think?
I think he's pretty happy with where he is. I think if somebody paid him a lot of money and told him he'd come in and punt on Sundays, he would do it. But I think the opportunity or the situation would probably have to be just right for him.
One of the things that he did very well last year was he turned those snaps that weren't real perfect into good holds. And I know, Cameron's done a good job of holding, but it doesn't seem like has he had any real tough ones yet to handle?
Well, the goal is for him not to. But Rick's done a great job of that. Rick's really improved also, which he needed to take a step up from where he was a year ago. And he's done a nice job. But, you know, like I say, I mean, throughout the course of the offseason and training camp, you see a number of snaps. He's handled all of them great. I have no worries about him there.
Dave, I think it was you had 4 guys last year who had 300 or more snaps on special teams. And all 4 of those guys are either not back here this year, like either Najee Good, and some guys might have bigger roles in offense, defense. Clement comes to mind, Rouge Hill possibly. Do you feel confident that, even though it's early in the preseason, that you'll be able to find guys to fulfill those roles, to be those core guys here?
Yeah, no, I'm excited about the group. At the end of the day, when you coach special teams, the back end of the roster flips a bunch. Every year is different. I say that every year. You got to start from scratch every year. But I think the group's done a great job. We got a lot of work to do, a lot of football left to play. A bunch of guys have a lot of growth or a lot of room to grow. But I'm definitely encouraged. I'm not worried, that's for sure. I'm encouraged and excited about it.
Were you pleasantly surprised with the way the kickoff rule took place on the field last night?
I mean, I thought it was good. There's obviously some like we had the 2 penalties. There's some things that we got to clean up. There's some things I think the officials probably got to clean up, and we all got to get on the same page, really. But I think the play looks like it's going to be a fun play. I think it'll be fun for both sides, for the kick team, for the return team. I think it looks safer to me, so I'm definitely encouraged.
Dave, my apologies if you've gone through this already, but look, there's one of those lowering of the head penalties on special teams.
Yeah.
And it looked like it was Perkins. If I have
Yeah,
to
it was Perkins,
not
yeah,
Rodgers.
yeah.
And it looked like like a little mini watch. What was your thought on the call there?
Yeah, I would say. I mean, the first time you look at it, it's hard because a year ago, obviously, it would be nothing. But I'd say at the end of the day, I could see why they called it. I'm not sure if they want to call that one or not. That's I'm not really sure on that. But I would say I can see if that's called a penalty, I can see why. I'd say at the end of the day, we all got to work hard to keep that head out of the game. We all know that, and I feel like we can correct the mistake. We could do a better job using our hands, and we could fix that problem there. It's difficult because it's different, but I think we'll all be able to adjust, no problem.
Is what he did on that play, though, really any different than what happens on any common run play?
Yeah, I would say he led with his hat a little bit more than he had to, and so, you know, with the new rules, we could work harder at keeping our head out of there. I'm good with how it was officiated. And I love it. I think it's great for the game. We got to make it a safer game. We got to keep the head out of it. I really commend the NFL and the league for working hard to do it. Change is hard on all of us, especially when you're the player out there playing the play. But at the end of the day, we'll all learn from it and grow, and we won't make the mistake again. So I feel good about it.
From the limited look you've had at the new kickoff, does it still, in your mind, seem like a good idea to have, as far as Darren as a potential kickoff return guy with the space you saw so far?
Yeah, I would say, I guess my opinion is that play is going to look more like a kickoff than it will a punt, even with the rule changes. So I would say right now we'll just continue to monitor it. I think it's going to be hard to say in the preseason exactly what it's going to look like in the regular season. Both teams are playing a lot of players. Teams are chipping the ball down there to try to get returns. Some teams are hitting it deep. When you're chipping it down there, you don't necessarily get the hang time on the ball that you're going to in the regular season. So I don't think it plays out exactly the same. You're playing a lot of different players. But I think we got a good idea what it's going to look like, and over the course of the next 3 weeks, we'll get a better look at it. I don't think it'll be a whole lot different than what the kickoff returns look like in the past.
So that would mean that he's probably not a likely guy to use a lot.
No, so I said to these guys before, I would say right now, I mean, to be determined. I don't see it being a primary role for him. Could he jump back in there if we needed him at some point or something like that? I'm sure he could. We'll see how it plays out. A lot of it's risk reward. Obviously, he's not getting any younger. You're trying to manage his reps and his legs and his body and everything else. Who else do you have back there? Do you need him back there? How much of a difference is it going to make? You know, all those things you got to weigh into it.
You used Gibson a little bit last night in that role. I mean, he did a lot of it at West Virginia. Had at least one good run last night. I mean, what is your view of him right now?
So I'd say right now for us, we're just trying to find out more about him. You know, just give him some opportunities and exposure, see what he does. You're also trying to find out strengths and weaknesses of a player. If he were back there, what are the things you would do with him? And then, like, we had Mac Hollins and Aiken. Those guys were kind of playing that wing spot, so we're, you know, finding out, can those guys play back there, can they not? A lot of what we're doing right now is like contingency plans for in season. What if something happened? You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things going on out there. Some guys are playing probably positions they won't play in the season, but they could have to play in an emergency. And you don't want it to be the first time in a real game, you know.
Is Nelson in the mix for either return spot?
I'd say probably not right now. He's a top 3 wideout. He's going to get a lot of play there. And I think we'll have some other good options back there, but we'll see. Never say never.
What does Leroy Reynolds brought to the table? I think he was out there with the first unit on all 4 units.
Yeah, he played a handful of snaps. We didn't play him a whole lot. No, Leroy's great. He's been a great addition for our group. He brings like a toughness and a chip on his shoulder mentality. He's a great kid, hard worker. Plays the game with an edge. So he's been really a productive player. He's helped elevate the play of the whole group already, I'd say. Some of it's because they watch what he does and try to emulate some of the things he does real well. But I've been really encouraged by him. Obviously, we got a long way to go, but he's done a nice job.
What's Chris Maragos been like behind the scenes?
Chris is Chris. I mean, he's outstanding. I mean, he just loves the game so much. I mean, he could coach the game tomorrow if he wanted to. But he's been great. He's a tremendous help. Obviously, did that all last season. Tremendous helper out there. He talks to all the young guys, teaches them a bunch of techniques and tricks, and helps, you know, give those guys more tools. But he's been great. He comes to all the meetings, shows up at practices, watches, gives guys advice, talks to me. I've bounced a bunch of things off him, you know. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? What do you think about playing a guy here or there? I got a lot of respect for his opinion and what he has to say. He helps the whole group.
It says something about you to be open and receptive to all the ideas.
Yeah, well, some of the best ideas come from them. You just got to listen.
Dave, what insights did last night offer in terms of how the new rules are going to apply?
Yeah, no, I thought it was fun. I think it's great. I've said it a few times here, but I think what the league's doing, keeping the head out of the game, is outstanding. With that, there's some adjustment, you know, where we all got to adjust and learn. We had the 1 penalty for illegal use of the helmet on the punt. We had the 2 penalties for the illegal double team blocks in the back end of kickoff return. As I think I said earlier, I talked to the league about it this morning, and we've had great dialogue back and forth. I commend them for really the communication. And I think everybody's kind of coming together and getting on the same page right now. I think they would do some things differently today if they officiated that game today. We would probably also do some things differently knowing what we know now
The double team blocks,
based off that game.
are they outlined all of it or just in the setup?
No, so the double team, you're allowed to have double team blocks with those 8 guys up front inside the 40.
Right, in that setup area.
The 3 guys back deep, which one of the 3 is going to be returning the ball if it's a deep kick. So you're left with 2 other guys. Those 2 other guys cannot participate in any double team block, whether it be with the 2 of them or with 1 of them and one of the other 8 from the front.